Hi everyone, this is Akansha and welcome to my channel Infinity and Ink. Today we are going to talk about 3 books from the first quarter of 2025 that I have absolutely loved and that I think deserves a chance in everybody's bookshelf or on everybody's reading list. So the first book is The Boy with Two Hearts, and I read this book in January and it was my favorite. I think I finished it under 2 days. I don't know, but I think under 2 days. Yeah, so this is a story of a refugee family from Afghanistan who had to leave their home country to reach to the UK to access better medical care for their eldest son who had a heart condition. Now, the author in this book documented their journey from leaving Afghanistan to reaching to the UK and the struggles they faced in the journey. Now, this is not a sad story. This is not a story of heartbreak or guilt or sadness. I think this is a very powerful story of a bond between family and the love between siblings. I think the author did a fantastic job in portraying how the love between family often helps us get through the most difficult times of our lives. There's this quote that I read on Instagram is that your parents leave too early and your partner arrives late in your life, and your siblings are the one who stays with you throughout the journey. They know you, who you are, and I think this book very powerfully demonstrated that. One of my favorite lines from this book is that you don't realize the value of family until you no longer have it. I just really loved how the author described their relationships, their inside jokes, how even when life was testing them and everything seemed so difficult, their bond, their love was what held them together and helped them get through the most difficult times of their life. The second book is Songs in Ursa Major by Brodie. This book is set in 1970s America, and this is a story of a young woman who aspires to be a singer. She is talented, she is dedicated, she knows her art, and she thinks that all these things are enough to take her to success. Until she is faced with this harsh reality that the music industry values her pretty face more than her raw talent. This is a story of this woman navigating her career aspirations, her friendships, her relationships, while also uncovering the truth about her mother. What I really loved about this book is that the author touched the topic of mental illnesses and stigma in our society about mental illnesses and how it was prevalent at the time, and it still is in our society to some degree. As somebody who's really passionate about mental health and mental illness, I really enjoyed this book, and I really like reading when authors mention something about mental health or broaches the topic of mental health and mental illnesses in their book. This was my favorite read from the month of February, and I think everybody should read this book at least once in their life. So the third book is Oh Sister by Jodie Chapman, and I read this book in the month of March, and I knew that it was one of those books that's going to stay with me for a very long time. This is a story of 3 women who grew in a very different household, but they essentially lived the same life. So they were born into this very religious family, and they lived their life by rules and restrictions and regulations that were imposed upon them by their religion and their families. So they were essentially told to be good girls, and they were good girls for their entire lives until one day they realized that the rules and restrictions that they were blindly following were not meant to liberate them but to oppress them. And when they realized that, I think everything changed for them. They realized that the rules do not apply the same way to men as they do to them. So this is a story of these women finding faith in themselves and realizing their worth and reclaiming their power. It's such an interesting read to see these women growing into the version of themselves that they love, not what the society loves. And a very powerful message from the book for me was that you don't need some polished version of yourselves for you to be liked and loved by others. People who love you and people who value you will accept you just the way you are, not some carefully curated, polished version of yourselves. So these were my 3 favorite books from the first 3 months of 2025. Let me know what were yours, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.